Hello, in this video we are going to be talking about the Mitaiken EP by the band SUSU. Now, SUSU is actually this kind of side project of two artists. One is Ikkyu Nakajima of the bands Tricot and Genie, and the other is Kanji Yamamoto from the band The Cigavettes. So this project is kind of outside of Ikkyu's normal sort of thing. She is very more rock and pop and various genres within those two genres. This EP, however, is a lot more like dream pop and also verges on vaporwave, new wave, city pop, and also bedroom pop. So this is actually the second project from this band. Their last was an EP in 2022 called Gakari. Now, I actually liked Gakari quite a bit. However, I'm not really a fan of this one. Normally, I talk about songs first and then how I feel about them, but first I want to talk about how I feel about this project first and then go song by song. So it's not a bad album, but I also don't think it's a good album. I'm kind of verging on 4 out of 10 and 5 out of 10 territory for this thing. I really wish Ikkyu leaned more into the aesthetic for this kind of 80s throwback city pop sort of sound that she's going for on this album. She's just kind of singing like she always does, and I like how she sounds on her more rock and pop songs, but this kind of like electro dance 80s throwback thing, I just don't think it really works, and I think she really needed to match the styling of the instrumental in that way. So for example, if you were to isolate the vocals for the first song on this project, I feel like it could fit on any like Tricot song or Genie song. There's just really no vocal identity that she attempts to work into the songs on this album. It's all pretty by the numbers EQ fare, which I like in general, but because this project is so stylistically specific in its genre and sound, I just wish that she matched that energy. And although she's still a great singer, she just kind of sounds asleep at the wheel on some of the vocals on this album. She isn't really exhibiting any of the features that I think make her a good singer, unfortunately, and I know she can, and she just is choosing not to. She is consistently giving these lackadaisical deliveries on the songs on here, and I just don't know why. And I say all this as a huge fan of hers, and I know how well she could sing, and she's just not really trying to live up to any of her previous work, it seems like, on this project. I think in general, she plays it a little bit too safe on this album when she doesn't really need to, and she has like nothing left to prove, considering she's fairly famous in Japan and also outside of it too, which is very rare for a Japanese artist. Don't know what the point was here. So with that, let's get into the first song, which is called Daichikoku, which kind of means like delay or being late in a major way. So it's got this 80s vaporwave aesthetic. It's very bubblegum poppy. I wish there were more interesting effects on Ikkyu's voice. It's pretty much just her singing flatly with like 1 or 2 backing tracks, and it's just not very interesting. And because the instrumental is so lively and because Ikkyu is so unlively, she really stands out in this song and the others because of that weird kind of dissonance. I don't know why she went for this at all. So the second song is called Shodokai. There's no real good translation for this in English. There's kind of 2 ways you can go with it. So from what I've seen, the English translation by presumably the band is called Anymore. However, this is an actual noun that is used as the title for this song, and that noun is impulse purchase. So I guess you could go either way, but I feel like impulse purchase, since it's the literal translation of the literal name of this song, fits it a little bit more for that reason. So I think this song actually came together pretty well overall. I actually like Ikkyu's delivery on this song, and it's also got this really like light and fun chord progression here too. And I think the synths actually work pretty well on this song. The next song, Cacao, it's kind of a late night vibey kind of song if you're like listening to it on the road, which kind of feels like the correct environment in which you should be listening to this song. I feel like the production is doing a lot of the heavy lifting here. Again, EQ's kind of asleep at the wheel, but at this point in the track list, I'm really just not expecting much from her at all. So more par for the course, I guess. The fourth song is called Delivery, and I find it has this very luxurious yacht rock sort of sound to it. There is this whistling that is placed throughout some parts of the song that personally I don't like. They kind of take me out too much. I wish it wasn't there, and if it wasn't, I'd actually probably like the song a lot more. Generally, I don't really like whistling in songs. This might just be me not liking it for that very specific reason, but I just don't think it fits. So the last song is the title track, and that is Mitaiken, which means unexperienced. I actually think this song has a pretty amazing soundscape. I really like how it sounds, and I actually like how Ikkyu sounds a lot here too. I will say I actually like this song. So they've got one on the board for me. So great job, you two. I would actually give this one 2 thumbs up. I think if you have to listen to any song on here, or you're just vaguely interested, listen to this one. I think this one is the most palatable just because it's actually interesting and it has some stuff going for it. And yeah, that is my recommendation. So this is for sure going to be a quick review. There's only 5 songs and I don't really have a lot to say about them because they're not too intricate. So in general, I think the production is pretty good, but the vocals are just lacking in almost every song. So I haven't mentioned the lyrics yet, and that's kind of because there's nothing to really talk about. A lot of it is very by the numbers. I'm interested in you. I want to see you. I love you. I want to love you. Like I said, I think Ikkyu's kind of asleep at the wheel on this project, so there's nothing I really want or feel the need to kind of talk about lyrically here. Despite how I feel about the majority of these songs, I would like a full project, maybe of this kind of sound or style. I think the production is fine. I think it works, but I just think Ikkyu needed to put more energy into it. She released 3 EPs this year, and I think maybe this one was just kind of on the back burner for her. She wasn't able to give it the time and attention it needed, and that's why she generally just kind of sounds disinterested, I feel like, on a lot of these songs. So I wish that she would actually give a full project like this, lots of time and attention and care and editing and revising. I think she genuinely has the capability to make something like this sound really good, but it's heavily dependent on her as the singer and songwriter to actually make that come to fruition. With a short project like this, I find that you don't really have enough time to really get into the sound and the vibe of the EP. And in that way, it kind of reminds me of Yonige's first album, where it was generally a fine rock, garage rock, indie rock album, but it was really lacking any punch. On that album, there are a few standout tracks, but they're kind of underdeveloped. And it wouldn't be until a few projects later in which you would really find that they are fantastic musicians and songwriters. So I feel like that's a really good comparison for this EP. So is this EP good? I mean, I guess. It's just not interesting. If you like that 80s vaporwave, city pop sound, I think you'll enjoy this just from that very niche perspective. But if you like Ikkyu's work as a whole, I don't think this is going to rank very highly on your ranking chart. So I would probably say that I like this duo's 2020 project a little bit more than this. So it sounds fairly similar to this EP, except it's not really mainlining this 80s throwback sound. It's allowing itself to kind of take influences from a lot of other kinds of genres and songs, which I think ultimately works better in its favor. This EP almost feels like it's relying too much on that 80s aesthetic to actually carry it rather than present any interesting or original ideas. I think the instrumentals on this album are fairly good overall. However, they kind of feel like they're left on a loop. So I just kind of slip into boredom before the song even ends. It's just not really doing anything for me. So with that said, I think I would give this album a 4 out of 10. I think I would have given it a 5, but knowing how much I like their previous work more, this feels like a very distinct downgrade. So I can only rank it lower than I would have ranked that project. So 4 out of 10 could be better. I hope they do come back to this style and are able to actually cook up some more interesting ideas, because like I said, this just feels kind of one note and like it's relying too much on that 80s sound instead of trying something that makes it more unique. Yeah, those are my thoughts. I hope you enjoyed the video. I think you should check out the EP if you're even vaguely interested. I think there's definitely some merit to it. If you don't enjoy it, just know that you're not alone, I guess. So yeah, thank you for watching and have a good rest of your day and take it easy.